Personally, after the Legacy loss, I think I was the most sad. Like on the way home, I just didn't speak, and I guess it's my first game, so I felt sad coming into a loss.
Personally, I didn't really mind the loss. Being the captain, I've got to remain pretty neutral and objective based, so I knew what we did wrong, what we had to improve on.
I think losing to Legacy was a pretty big wake-up call for everyone, so going in towards Sin, I think a lot more people were just serious, thinking about the game, what they can do.
I think Sin were a bit cocky coming into the game versus us.
I see Avant today as a slightly weaker Abyss.
From Sin Gaming especially, being called a worse Abyss is quite weird because we have different playstyles, and it was quite good to beat them.
The Sin win was a huge pick-me-up for everyone in the house. It felt really good, especially for me.
So the way Sin were going to beat us was from the top lane. So seeing Series crush him was an absolute great thing to see.
I think it's easy, especially for the audience, to forget that we have a lot of experience playing against these people in scrims, solo queue, so a lot of the aura or the kind of mystique around an import like flares, it sort of disappears after some time. I just see the matchup and I play it like I would play any other player.
When we were talking about getting a house in Sydney, the gaming house, I said I would highly prefer if it was suitable for dogs to be there.
Having Kobe around is actually pretty amazing. When everyone's feeling down, we just have Kobe just looking at us and it automatically makes you smile.
You know, you can't really have a bad day when he's just wagging his tail at you. He's never sad, he's always just, a smile on his face.
Our team is probably closer to something like a family. We're all equally terrible people in that we're all complete idiots, so it's heaps fun being together.
There's a bit of a running joke that I'm the mum. I've always got to look out for them when they're being menaces in public and all that stuff.
I think Avant has been one of the closest families I've been in and very accepting of me as a player in person. So it's definitely good to join this roster.
Welcome back to the OPL. My name is Michael Hingazing, and if you're just joining us, well, we just saw Legacy go down to Sin Gaming, but we're about to get into our second match of the day. Joining me here to break them down as they happen, we have our OPL analyst, our in-house guru. It is Nathan Mendrix-Mendez. And we also have our special guest here today from Tainted Minds, their coach, Nick Inero-Smith. Thank you both for being here so much. And I just worked it out. We've just finished our first paper, scissors, rock of the OPL, which is Legacy beat AV, AV beat Sin. Now Sin have beat Legacy. So, who knows? It's a paper, scissors, rock.
It's a bit of a three-way deadlock between those teams at the moment.
Exactly. But we are about to get into Abyss versus AV. And this is kind of interesting because Sin described AV as Abyss Light. But AV are kind of favourites going into this because they beat Sin. Goodness.
Yeah, I think this was just kind of Juves just looking to flame someone for the sake of flaming them. I don't think Avant and Abyss are even close to being the same, other than the fact that they both have strong mid laners. I think that's the strong point for both teams for the most part, but I don't think they're similar really at all.
I think one of the things that, Juves had that confidence or that big boost of confidence going out up against him was he said that they had great success against them in Scrim. So he was sort of feeling that would translate into LAN. It didn't in the end, and AV shows they do have some teeth to bear.
Well, let's for people who are just joining us, who haven't watched the OPL a lot, Mendrix, give us the 30,000-foot view of Abyss. Who are these guys?
So Abyss at the moment, they recently came through for the promotional tournament. These guys got through from the OCS last time around. And the good thing about Abyss is that they sort of came together as a new team, sort of having to do some replacement and roster swaps. Now, Frey's really stepped up. He is really the shining light for the team at the moment, and he's really holding them up. One of the big advantages they do have is their team's ability to sort of inverse, reflect on their mistakes. I really like Kuden. He recently put out a tweet that said, my performance last game really wasn't there. And it's really quite endearing. So I hope that he can actually show up in this particular game because I feel Abyss are quite hungry for that first win of the season.
I mean, Inero, you've obviously come up against AV in scrims. I don't want you to talk about those results or anything. I don't want to be leaking scrims. But generally speaking, you've watched them play 2 rounds so far. How do you rate AV's playstyle?
I think as a team, they play a lot better than Abyss, personally. I think they're definitely a contender for 4th, 5th place team. They're definitely sitting up there. They're still fairly new together, so I think they're playing pretty well for a team that doesn't have that high of expectations from everyone. So I think they're actually doing really well.
All right, well, let us get to it. Earlier today, I spoke to team captain of Abyss, Seb. I started by asking him about how he thought their season was going.
Obviously hasn't been too good with the first 2 weeks losses, but we'll definitely be looking to bring it back this week, and yeah.
We've seen a lot of teams trying to ban out your mid laner Frey, so other teams clearly see him as a threat. How hard has it been to change the perception of Abyss's playstyle from last year?
I'd say we're definitely used to mid lane being banned out since we had Luch and he was a big priority to our team. So yeah, not much has changed. Frey is definitely showing up and has been a great asset to our team.
And your opponent's AV coming off a good win over Sin last week. Where do you think your best matchup is in the match today?
In terms of lane, I'd say in mid and jungle again. And I think we can beat them all around the map, and we should be beating them today, most definitely.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, and best of luck in the match today.
Yep, thank you.
Seb there, captain of Abyss, and always seeming like a friendly face before these games, always quite calm, and similarly there's a bit of nervous sweats as well going on there. Well, let's take a look at the guys as they are getting ready right here in the Riot Studios. Having a laugh as we bring up their team, their top laner, Pac-Man, a chiseled jawline, their jungler Seb, who we just spoke to, their mid laner, Frey, the one true mid laner, as Frostkirin named him last year. Raid, their AD carry, and their support player, Kuden, formerly of Legacy Gaming, now on Abyss. And as you look at these guys, Mendrix, we know Frey is kind of how they're going to play, we expect. But if it's not there, if it's not through that mid lane, where else can they pick up a win, do you think?
So I feel that Pac-Man is a little bit of a wild card. The fact that he is able to play those pure tanks is something that really has a bit of an advantage to them. They know that what they're going to get from that sort of situation. He also has a little bit of a split push threat. If he does manage to get himself on a trundle, he's been known to play that quite proficiently. So there's a little bit of pocket picks that he could possibly pick up and really throw Avant off their game.
Well, across from Pac-Man, obviously he's coming up against Ceres. And earlier today, I spoke to Blinky from AV, and I started by asking him about Ceres and how well he is fitting into the team.
We always knew he was going to be a good player, but we didn't expect him to pop up as much as he did. We knew maybe a few weeks down the track he can do it, but it was good that he did it now.
Coming up against Abyss today, they are hungry for their first win. Where do you feel you'll beat them on the map?
We actually think that they're the better Sin, but we should beat them pretty much anywhere on the map, so we'll be fine.
And also, we saw a lot of Tamkench and Malzahar out of Jake in the first 2 rounds. We also saw Camille support in NA. Do you think there's any chance you guys will give that a crack today?
Maybe not the Camille, but we'll have a go.
Excellent stuff. Well, best of luck, and thanks for speaking to us.
Cheers.
There we have Blinky from AV naming Abyss the good Sin. What's your thoughts on that?
Just a little. I think there's just a little bit of cheek being thrown out there after what they experienced beforehand when they said, Avant's the lesser Abyss. So I like how they're sort of throwing it back at them, especially after the win. So they're looking very confident at the moment, and I really do like to see what he likes to pull out from that point.
All right, well, let us take a look at the guys as they are getting ready right now in our studios. Very relaxed there. With a good laugh. Let's pick up their team lineup. Ceres will be their top laner today, as always. Their jungler, Chelby. Their mid laner, Triple. Their ADC, Blinky, who we just spoke to. And hiding from the camera, Jake, their captain, who is traditionally their captain, but today was feeling a bit under the weather. So is that going to affect their play, do you think? He's got a bit of a cold, so no?
I mean, I think it can affect shot calling a bit, but I'm not really sure how they work as a team. I don't know if he has the full shot calling role or if it's split up, but I mean, I know it definitely hurts. It's hard to say to do stuff when you're having to think about how sick you are.
Absolutely.
This is one of those cases where you might miss out on the communication because you're trying to go and have a quick sneeze, and next thing you know, we're supposed to go for Baron there, and that's definitely not what they should have been doing, so who knows what's going to happen.
All right, well, we've already mentioned and touched on the mid lane for Abyss, Frey, and he's actually been banned out quite a bit during this first couple of weeks of the OPL, so let's take a look at Legacy's bans for him last series. They were really targeting, aside from that LeBlanc ban, which is kind of a standard ban, you're seeing a lot of bans towards Frey from Legacy there in Arrow.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Frey is obviously a really strong point for this team. I haven't really seen anyone else on Abyss have as good of a performance as he has, especially when he's in losing games and he's still having a really strong showing. So I think it just makes sense. You take out the part that's strongest in the team, you try to make it as weak as possible.
And we're also seeing from him, Mendrix, that he's playing Corki, he's playing Cassio, he's playing Victor. So there is some diversity as well in his champ pool, even if you are banning him out.
Yeah, exactly. And that really is the trademark of a great player. If he does happen to have that large champion pool, it means that even though you might be able to try and target ban him out, make him not as effective, he's still going to be good on the map. And that's really what you want to have, especially in that mid lane.
Yeah, and when we take a look at the top of the map as well, Series, you got to remember, not only has he been stepping up, he's also someone that they picked over Paradise from last year, who was a massive player.
Yep, absolutely right there. And one of the things I do want to discuss when it comes to Series as well is he's actually racking up quite a big solo kill hit list. And as you can see, that he's managed to kill Tally and Flares as well. So these are two guys who really have had a lot of hype surrounding them at the moment. And Tally himself has said that there isn't that many people that have actually managed to solo kill him. So Ceres, as everyone has been saying, is really showing up at the moment. And if he can continue this trend, he will be one of the big reasons why Avant does well in this season.
And in Era, we're also seeing him play Poppy, we're seeing him play Fiora, so he can play both tanks and carries. What's your kind of assessment of Ceres as a player?
Well, right now, from what I've seen, he's shown to be a lot better than I expected. Obviously, I come in, I don't really know all the players too well, and I just have their reputation to go off of. But him being able to show up on both carries and tanks is a really important thing. A lot of top players kind of get stuck on, I'm a carry player or I'm a tank player. And someone who can play both and is really versatile is so important. And I think definitely if he's a young player and he's able to do that, that's really big for the future, and that'll be good for his showing in the future of his career.
Mendrix.
And another thing that I want to take into account is Jake said that he's a fantastic, he's got fantastic communication skills. So that's definitely a big boon to have when you go into a team game. If you're able to communicate what's happening on that top side of the map, they like to think of it sometimes as an island. Well, if you are getting the messages or the SOSs across, that means that you do have a nice advantage from that.
Yeah, I like these guys. I like AV. You know, I was chatting to Series on an interview. I don't know if we published it. I don't know if we put that on Twitter. But he was telling me that they catch public transport home. Like, you know what I mean? They're not like the rich boys, you know? They're just out here, the wrong side of the tracks kind of guys. I like it. You know, it humanizes them to me. It's very
kind of like the Spartans of the OPL. These guys don't really need as many amenities to make sure that they're still effective.
I mean, they do have Maxi Bomb. I think that's actually pretty important. Like, my team doesn't have ice cream. I love ice cream. I'm sure that helps Ragnar out with everything. So,
all right. Well, opltips.com.au is where you can let us know who you think is going to win. #IamOPL as well. Because our predictors today, well, AV seems like they've got a bit of an advantage over Abyss, but who knows? Because obviously, last game, 50% of the people thought there was going to be a 2-0 to Legacy, and they were wrong, myself included. Well, let's get some predictions from you guys. Mendrix, who's going to win this one and by what margin?
Okay, so at the moment, I actually feel that it's going to be an Abyss taking a 2-0. So not 2-0, a 2-1. The reason for that is I feel they're a bit hungry at the moment. Avant's got a really good showing, so I imagine they'll be able to take one game off them. But it's just the fact that Abyss are hungry. I think they've a lot more they can do when they can show us. They haven't hit their full potential yet.
Anero?
Okay. I personally think Avant will 2-0. It could possibly be 2-1, but I think Avant have shown that they just play better as a team. They both have strengths in the mid laner, but Avant also has Ceres, who's just been showing up a lot more. And while Pac-Man has like that open champion pool of tanks that he can use, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like sometimes it doesn't really work out, and knowing that he's going to pick that stuff is pretty big for Avant. I think Avant will just have it 2-0.
What about the blue side buff? If you know,
yeah, I mean that might have an effect, but I don't really see Jace being as much of a flex for Abyss if Pac-Man's mainly sitting on tanks. So if they pick Jace, it's kind of just saying like, all right, Frey is playing Jace. So I think it's Avant.
Save your bands because he's playing Jace. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's a mixed prediction here from the desk. I can't remember what I tipped. So let's say it's AV 2-1, I think I might have said. Check the podcast. #OPL show. Anyway, that's enough from us here at the desk. Let us throw it to our casters. It's Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. Glad to know that you don't remember what you tipped here, but I was going for an AV 2-0 in this one, but it seems like it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, it certainly should be. Of course, Abyss is a little bit hungrier because they don't have that Maxibon sponsorship, so they're not having those sweet, sweet ice creams that Enero is so badly coveting over there on the OPL desk. We do feed them, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to put that message out. He rocked up. He had a lovely lunch provided for him. The fact that he doesn't have ice cream, that's not really our responsibility.
Yeah, get your own ice cream. Come on, mate. We don't have to do everything for you. But yeah, it's probably going to be a very close game here, Spawn, although currently Abyss sitting at 7, Avant is sitting at 4, still very early into the season.
I mean, who the heck knows at the moment, Fish? We've just seen Sin Gaming, show up today in a way that we hadn't seen for the first couple of weeks. If Abyss is able to do that as well, then this could be a wash. But at the same time, Avant, They had this, the start of a good showing against Sin. And this is just one of those games that you really can't call at this stage. It's only been 2 weeks. They've got so many new players running through these rosters that really anything can happen.
So, I mean, the desk has covered quite a bit for both Abyss and Avant, but heading into this first match, what part of the map are we really going to be looking at between these two teams?
Yeah, well, you see, they've kind of broken it down that right now they're looking towards the mid laners because, Frey versus Triple, both of these guys are big carries. I mean, you have the top lane. I actually like to look at the bottom lane because I think that the Bash Bros, Blinky and Jake, they've been having such a good start to this. And then, when you go over the other side of the rift and you're looking at Raid and Kuden, they came under a lot of scrutiny for their performance. So I really think that was Kuden getting targeted out. And I want to see him bounce back. I want to see Raid and Kuden, they're big, solo queue players. They like to get out there and spam games on Summoner's Rift. Want to see whether they can step up today and help their team come together for a victory.
I mean, we saw Kuden go out onto Twitter and publicly say that, he wants to play better, was not very happy with his performance last week, and is excited to step up in this match against Avant. So we'll have to see if they can do it. Avant, though, they've got the morale boost now that Kobe's in the house, their new player manager, going to be helping out the team quite a bit. Lots of pats, lots of hugs, shaking hands all around as well. Pretty sure if Avant win here, they're going to get a treat for that too.
I'm about to ostracize the whole of the world, but I don't actually like dogs, so that wouldn't raise my morale at all. I've got a bunny rabbit, on the other hand, which is awesome.
Maybe he should meet Kobe.
No, Kobe would kill Ted. Not going anywhere near him.
Poor Jake. Both Jakes, actually. But now, though, we are into picks and bans for the first match between Abyss and Avant Garde. The first ban phase is going through. Camille, as always, being banned out on the red side of Summoner's Rift after Chippy's dominant performance on the champion. I don't think we're going to see that one picked up again. Jace being banned out on the blue side.
And this is what Anero said. They don't really have that flexibility to be able to flex it. So all of a sudden, you're either looking at series or triple picking that up. If you are on the Avant Garde lineup, Abyss don't want that to happen. So they're going to ban that one away and look to play this one a little bit more standard. They're a front-to-back team.
And already, Fiora being banned out here towards series. The Hitman himself is on a little bit of a hit list for bans. See if the final ban from Abyss is going to be doing the exact same thing. Rengar taken off the table. Champion that has only really been seen play by a few junglers. Guts has had quite a few games in the champion to not much success so far, but still very strong and powerful champion to pick up.
Yeah, I think Guts has had a couple. Shorter Race has had one as well from memory. This is going to be interesting because, with the Zyra ban, they're now picking whether they want a LeBlanc first pick for Frey or a Kha'Zix first pick for Seb. Looks like it's going to be potentially Kha'Zix. I would expect that to be picked up pretty early on in this one. Seb is a big 6 player.
Standard red side bans coming out from Avant Garde.
Pac-Man's threatening this. I mean, he even had a ban thrown at him for it. He plays a Wicked Nasus, apparently. If you're going to play tank into him, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he scales better than the other tanks, and Wither is actually one of the best forms of crowd control against AD carries.
I mean, if there's going to be anyone that picks up Nasus in the top lane, it's probably going to be Pac-Man, but they do lock in the Kha'Zix, like you mentioned, as their first pick, because LeBlanc was banned out on the red side of the Rift. That does give Avant a very strong bottom lane, though. They get Malzahar as well as Varus in their first pick rotation.
And we know that Blinky loves to play the Varus already. I mean, his first couple of games were on it, then it got picked away from him in one or the other. I think he's played like 3 games on it so far. So, this is going to be 4 out of 5. That's 80%. If my math holds sound, that's a pretty high pick rate. At the same time, it allows Kuden to go back to Misfortune. There was a champion that didn't have great success on last week, but I want to see him return to because I really think that Kuden's a confidence player, and if he can make it work, it's going to mean good things for Abyss in the future.
I mean, we also had Blinky kind of trying out different builds on the Varus as well. I believe 3 games in a row on the champion, 3 different builds came out from him. We'll have to see if that changes now with the lethality changes.
Ooh.
As Jin was the first pick, the second pick in their pick rotation here for Abyss. They're looking towards Lulu, and they actually locked that one in. Has been known to do well against Malzahar, but still Lulu Jin bot lane.
Yeah, it's actually one of those things that the movement speed's really useful for Jin, and then the attack speed steroid is just not great. Not attack speed, help picks isn't just useful on him. Gives a shield, of course, but not really all that much else. However, Polymorph going to be handy against the Malzahar as well as the Syndra at the same time. So there is certainly uses for it in this composition, let alone the fact that it's a promising lane.
So we've seen a lot of teams go for the jungle and bottom lane pickups in their first pick rotation, saving solo lanes for last, but Sintra coming out here for Avant means they're going to ban out Echo. They don't want Frey to pick up that champion and take it into triple Syndra. And again, bans being thrown towards Frey.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I feel like this isn't a Frey ban. That's just more of the fact that we've gone Syndra and Echo is the answer to it. Splits up the map, goes into 1-3-1 and lives through the ult incredibly well. I really do feel like that's just more of a generic ban, and that Frey is actually going to have quite an open champion pool this time around. I mean, the Corki gets taken away, but Cassio, Orianna, Victor, all of these normal wheelhouse champions are available.
No 7 mid lane bans being thrown out in this one. At least was banned out on the side of Avant. Abyss, trying to ban out Shelby, so to speak, take away a couple of his champions of choice.
This is going to be interesting. Do they pick jungle or do they pick top? Because if they pick top, there really is a chance, especially if it's a tank, that Pac-Man gets a priority one here.
Ivan, the final ban coming out from Abyss. We saw this against Legacy.
I'm trying to think. So even if Pac-Man wants to blind pick his tank, the only real thing they can take into it is Cannon. Like, as far as like really heavy carries go. You know, you might still see something like a Rumble running around, as apparently Jake's having a good chuckle at something. But there's not really all that many carries left available.
I mean, Series is known to pick up Irelia from time to time, can also pick up Gangplank, but that's only something we see Tally play so far. We'll have to see what that final pick is, because they have locked in Rek'Sai. Shelby will pick that one up heading into the jungle, so they do have a solid tank in the front line from their jungler. We'll have to see how Series is going to play his top lane. All the strong tanks still left up and available. Poppy, Maokai, Nautilus, even Sin still up.
I'm expecting to see Maokai or Orianna come out here. I mean, it's just such a standard composition. You have Maokai as well as the Kha'Zix to get the ball into the back line. Orianna as well as Lulu keep people alive. The Shen would be an interesting adaptation. A little bit more global presence.
So many shields from Abyss if they do lock in that Shen. So many ways to deliver multiple things into the back line. I mean, Lulu knocking people up, Shen jumping in from across the map, Orianna shockwaves out of nowhere from an invisible Kha'Zix. We'll have to see now what is Series going to play into the Shen in the top lane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? Because I think that the standard response would be Poppy, as it can stop his ultimate very easily. However, you know, Maokai's still available. You might see something like an Aurelia come out. I mean, Shen isn't all that high pressure in lane.
There it is. Locking in Aurelia for Series in top lane. Has been playing quite a bit of this champion in solo queue. He's very fond of the carry champions. And again, we'll have to see if Series is going to continue his hit list. This time he's up against Pac-Man, one of the more stable top laners in the OPL.
I mean, you know what you're going to get with Pac-Man. Quite like, you know, a summer day in Sydney right now. It's going to be over 40 and humid as all heck. You know, Pac-Man is just going to be a solid top laner that, you know, doesn't throw his weight around all that much, shows up at the team fighting phase and just continues to farm. At the same time, Series is going to look to pressure that with the Aurelia pickup. I mean, Aurelia has windows where she can trade with, of course, the Shen. Shen has that sphere that he puts around himself that nullifies auto attack, so that's going to really impact Series, but, you know, the sustain battle certainly in Aurelia's favor, and still has kill threat as soon as that W is down.
Certainly does. We'll have to see if Shelby or Seb are going to be able to impact those lanes, or if their targets are going to be elsewhere on the map. I mean, we've already seen in the games we had earlier between Sin and Legacy, lots of split focus across the map, no real sign of the map being targeted by either team. So we'll have to really see how Shelby is going to impact the map here for Avant Garde, and also have to look across from the Rift as well, see if Seb can get it going for Abyss.
Yeah, and I expect Shelby to get into mid lane. I mean, when you take in something like an Orianna, if you gank it early, burn the summoner spells, I mean, there's legitimate kill threat that's going to come out of a Rek'Sai and Syndra just because of the chain CC. So I really want to see him get back in Triple's back pocket, you know, continue to bully that lane around, because Frey has shown that, you know, he's a real carry threat. And in a composition like this where you got 2 ball carriers and, you know, a lot of defense, he really needs to be able to put in a lot of damage.
Yeah, lots of ways to keep Seb alive, most importantly. I mean, Jhin, not really the hyper carry that you normally see paired up with a Lulu back when she was a mid laner, but Kha'Zix with an Orianna ball, a Shen ultimate, as well as all the Lulu shields. It's going to be a pretty beefy Kha'Zix that will be dealing a lot of damage.
Certainly should be, and I wonder if he upgrades wings earlier. We've certainly seen wings at 16, but generally not at 11 anymore. Of course, that can change, because if you're trying to take the Shen and the ball, then maybe that is something you need to look for earlier.
So we'll have to keep track and see what Seb decides to take on his Kha'Zix later on in the game. But we are on to Summoner's Rift for this first match between Abyss as well as Avant Garde. But before we get the action going underway, let's check in with Hingers, who's with one of the coaches.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Sipe, and I want to start by asking you about the J-Span. Is that something you would have considered pre-7.2?
Yeah, Jace has been pretty powerful. So we thought we wanted to either first pick it or not first pick it, so we decided to not first pick it and go with the Kazakhs first.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it's a kind of a team comp we haven't seen before. I don't want you to, you don't have to reveal your strategy, but talk us through if it was something that you planned before or if you had to adapt during the pick ban phase.
No, like for that pick ban phase?
Yeah.
No, that was pretty standard stuff.
Yeah.
We saw most of the picks coming. So nothing too surprising, so it's pretty standard comp.
So you feel pretty confident going to the game then?
Yeah, the boys have played it, so they know what to do.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you for speaking to us and best of luck.
No problem, cheers.
There you go, the boys know exactly what they want to do with this team comp for Abyss. We'll have to see if they can be able to pull this one off. Very different team comp, a shield comp almost of sorts for the Abyss squad. We'll check in later to see how they do. For now though, we have junglers starting on different sides of the map. Rek'Sai starting at the Wolf camp, where Seb are going to be starting on blue buff to kick things off.
Rek'Sai, of course, has a really good AoE clear, so you can expect like a little bit of an EXP boost if you start at that camp. Puts him... It depends whether you want to take blue, because it can put you at a really quick invade if you want to go for your blue buff. However, if you want to hand that over to triple early on, you know, that gives you a little bit of an XP discrepancy. As Series actually takes some trades too early into this lane. Aurelia is one of those champions that if you don't have all three abilities available, you just don't want to go anywhere near anyone.
Shelby's actually trying to pick up the blue buff for himself. We saw in the top lane there, Shen just beating down Sirius as soon as he came in to get the last hit on those minions. Good bounce. Rain in the top lane is now trying to fight Pac-Man again. Pac-Man does not care. Doesn't give a damn about this Aurelia for now, and that's what we, you know, think Pac-Man is going to continue doing, being that solid top laner. We're already seeing Series forcing to chug through these crafting potions, using his last one now.
And I mean, that's horrible news. If you've been bullied out by a pure tank at this stage of the game, that's not going to hold you in good stead for the rest of it. Needs to just continually prioritizing farm, because as I said, Shen's kind of that brick wall that you can farm against. He shouldn't really have all that much kill threat. Series actually going for another trade.
Jumps out of the rim there. Pac-Man taking quite a bit of damage. Goes back in. Now trading comfortably in his favor, but he's out of potions. Got to see if he can out-sustain Pac-Man in the top lane here. Meanwhile, bottom side of the map, Kuden and Raid being zoned out a little bit by Jake as well as Blinky. Very even in this bottom lane to kick things off. Neither team being too aggressive for now.
Yeah, we're seeing Blinky one more time go towards the longsword start. Hasn't picked himself up any biscuits, however. There's continued pressure here from Series. Is a little bit low on mana, however. That's one of the things that Aurelia does need to watch for. Seb gets spotted out.
Moving up towards the top lane, looking to see if he can get the gank going on towards Sirius, who is playing very aggressively. But good use of the plant, spots him out.
And I mean, and you should be playing aggressively at this stage if you are Series. I mean, this is where Aurelia is continuing to be strong. As soon as, you know, a little bit of HP is picked up, we'll have to wait on a Trinity Force spike. But at the start of the laning phase, you know, has everything in the kit. True damage, as well as, you know, auto attack resets, stuns, to be able to bully around another top laner.
We have Chelby moving up towards the top side of the map, just helping Series push out this wave, it seems. Aurelia out of mana. Pac-Man going to be forced to farm underneath the turret. Shouldn't be too difficult for him, but already a good CS lead for Series. 10 up ahead of Pac-Man as he collects a wave about the same size. If he can farm it all up, should be nice and fine, but Series will get back to base first. Seb, looking towards the mid lane. Triple has been a little bit aggressive here after overextending slightly to get some harass on towards Frey.
And I mean, we'll see whether he knows he's there, because Seb did walk over a little bit of a ward, but has waited for a very long time. Here we go.
Going in, flashes away immediately. Triple wants to conserve his health pool, make sure he can stay in lane despite blowing that summon as well. Good move from him.
So an aggressive play out of Seb. I mean, jumping forward at the start. If Shelby is there, then that turns into a counter gank very easily. However, had spotted him top side. So instead, lane will just go back to neutral. Everyone will recall away on top and bottom side of the map. Really only the mid laners that haven't shopped so far fish. Instead going for a little bit of the savings account.
Both of them sitting on that Doran's ring at the moment. Still very healthy and they have health potions to boot. Top side of the map though, both top laners opting not to use their teleport and they're level 5. So Pac-Man will have his standing line available soon. And this has given Series some time to freeze the wave almost. Has been farming up quite nicely, making sure that Pac-Man has to overextend and lose a little bit of farm and experience to start things off.
I mean, at this stage of the game, you really don't want to gank it, however, if you're Shelby, just because he is so tanky. He's picked up Balmy Cinder as his first item. Frey catches a wave. He's also holding it off his turrets. So, yeah, you're right. We're seeing a lot of wave manipulation. But as you can see, Series with the creep wave can't really fight back against it. Although wants to go in.
Yeah, gets quite a bit of damage down towards Pac-Man there. Good trades using the minion wave to his advantage, making sure he can jump over towards those low health minions. Reset his Q. Dash in and out of that circle provided by Shen. Seb actually making his way towards the top side of the map. We do check him in bottom lane. It's now Blinky and Jake who are constantly pushing in against Kuden and Raid, but just dead even down here. Straight at Dirk to the Cole being picked up.
Well, this is level 6 versus level 5. I really don't like when junglers path up on this timing, especially given the fact that Shelby's here as well. They may just look to go aggressive.
There they go, Pac-Man, and he jumps on. Here comes Seb looking for the fight, but Pac-Man solo. Series goes in, and first blood is going to be picked up by Shelby. My goodness, Avant Garde, go for it.
And I mean, Series had just control of a massive wave. All of a sudden now Pac-Man misses out on that. Seb can't even absorb it. And that's a 23 CS lead now that's been just picked up off, honestly, a really poor gank timing out of Seb. That should have just been allowed to crash and reset. That's a huge hole to have to climb out of.
Immediately, teleport being burnt by Pac-Man, getting back towards the top side map. It does have Stand United available for cross-map plays, but once more, although it was a gank coming out from Shelby there, Series just increasing his hit list, it seems. Dared to go toe-to-toe against Seb, did have Shelby in his back pocket in case. Great map movements from Avant Garde.
Yeah, really nice out of AV, actually, because they knew where the pressure was. They waited for the lane to reset before they called Shelby up. So he's also got a pretty sizable farm lead at this stage of the game. And they're just, you know, able to manipulate creep waves the way that they need to ensure pretty safe jungle pathing. At the same time, Seb's jungle pathing was just incorrect. I mean, when you have a creep wave that is pretty much 10 strong, you don't want to fight within it. I mean, they just do way too much damage. And creeps are predictable. As soon as you hit a champion, they start hitting you back.
Meanwhile, we have Triple able to pick up his blue buff heading back into the mid lane. He's picked up the lost chapter, so has Frey. The bottom side of the map's been kind of a stalemate between these two teams for now, but Frey forced the flashaway ultimate coming out from the Syndra nice and early. Does have Summon Spell burnt by the Orianna, get back to safety.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Frey's Summon Spell choice is kind of strange. I mean, maybe more towards the Aurelia than the Syndra, but there's not many situations as an Orianna where you're going to be in range to exhaust a Syndra before she unleashes power on you. Generally, if you want to see a defensive summoner, you see something like a barrier or a heal, or preferably even a ghost just to navigate the spheres as they're coming down.
Seb has been forced to use the flash. Still will have that heal available. Blinky is taking this time to go back to base, and Seb's going to be taking his own red buff tier, being picked up late here for the Varus. We've seen this from quite a few Varuses, not just in the OPL, but also internationally. Oh, no one saw that. Picking up the tier after the Serrated Oak or after their first item.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, generally what you want to do is base with 2,000-ish gold if you can stay in late and be really greedy and go tier as well as the Dirk. However, if that's not possible, it's great to grab the Dirk first. It keeps you even in lane, and then you go back and grab the tier just a little bit later. You can see only 9 minutes in, not really all that delayed. Varus still going to stack that one up quite quickly. There's lots of members converging mid lane against Frey. You can see that he continues to garner some attention from possible suitors.
But he has been holding his own against Triple so far. Jake waiting in the wings. A good ward control coming out from Avant Garde so far. Lots of vision towards the bottom side of the map. Series has just enough to keep himself safe against Seb. It's a level 8 Irelia, though. I don't think he's too worried about the Kha'Zix at the moment, but still has to keep an eye out for that one.
Definitely not. Shelby one more time has navigated around the wards, and Series wants to go aggressive.
He's got his Sheen, gets some good damage down towards Pac-Man. Forces the taunt to come out from the Shen. Back underneath his turret one more time. Still falling lower and lower in CS. Teleport is available for this Irelia. So can match the map rotation from Shen as Raid takes an arrow there from Blinky.
And this is becoming pretty much the story of Abyss's life. I mean, in the mid lane, 20 CS advantage nearly. Just able to stand up and really do a good job. In the bottom lane, I mean, they're falling a little bit behind, but they're starting to get pushed in and poked out. And top lane is collapsing. And Seb really isn't able to impact the way that we have seen him in season pass. And get his team a sizable lead. So it's going to be hard for them to continue to fight their way out of this one. They're already 1,000 gold behind.
One lane that has been completely even is that bottom lane, but slowly Blinky is getting a lot of damage down. Pac-Man is trying to push out this wave. Series is just waiting for him though. Be a little bit careful here. Jumps onto one. He really shadow dashes away. He does not want anything to do with this Aurelia.
I mean, I don't blame him at this stage of the game. Probably going to go back and grab some tabbies for himself. Of course, one of the better item choices against an auto-attacking top laner Fish.
If you want to find out more about that item, head over to the OPL show.
Have no idea what you're talking about.
Meanwhile, in the bottom lane again, Blinky and Jake just kind of making sure Kuden and Raid are stuck underneath their turret. Shelby trying to take away some of the wards being placed down here by Abyss. Slowly clearing out vision on the bottom side of the map. Does spot out Seb, so they know exactly where the Kha'Zix is. That gives the go-ahead for Aurelia to play aggressive up in the top lane. Forcing Pac-Man again to retreat underneath his turret. Series pushes out this wave as fast as possible.
And you can see that Pac-Man's stuck here because of the wave clear that comes out of the level 9 Aurelia. It means that maybe bottom side of the map can start looking at dragging because Seb was bullied out. And, you know, pressure top side, 40 CS advantage right now. Force out the jungler in the bottom side of the map and, you know, open objectives everywhere else right now for Avant.
Meanwhile, Avant able to take down the Cloud Dragon for themselves. Scuttle Crab too busy eating up the fruit there to notice the Rek'Sai was coming straight for him. Going to take down that too. But not a big dragon to take, but still dragon nonetheless. Avant trying to increase their lead in this game.
Just gets the objectives ticking over, and I mean, that's all you really need at this stage of the game. You've got a great poke comp. You have actually pretty good late game scaling in everyone, except for maybe arguably Aurelia. So going to be completely fine in this, and sitting very pretty in the item slots as well right now.
And once again, checking in with the bottom lane. Nothing really happening there so far. Still Blinky just poking and poking, but Raiden could have done a really good job of just holding on, farming up, you know, going toe-to-toe against them. No action taking place, so to speak. It's all been in this top lane so far between Series and Pac-Man.
I mean, and even that's just become a wash at this stage. I mean, Pac-Man's just had to seed as much farm as he possibly can because, you know, not really in a position to be able to fight back just yet. So really no action happening anywhere, and I think it's going to be the first big map play of, you know, either teleports into the bottom lane or, you know, maybe a Stand United gank with Seb into the mid lane that gets them rolling. I think that, you know, continuing to try and go top is a big mistake because Series has just always got the minion wave pushed in and is definitely willing to go 2v1.
I mean, Seb was looking top and took the explosive plant over towards Krugs and farmed that up instead. I don't think he wants anything to do with this Aurelia so far, but Series is going to take a turret shot here. Might give Seb the go-ahead to try and get a top lane. Walks over a ward. And it is going to be Shelby that collapses on top of him, immediately flashing over the wall.
I mean, that just proves how much there is no business top lane at the moment. I mean, it's just a continual force now without flash, with like half health. All of a sudden, the top half of the jungle is under fire. And Seb really can't do anything because that is triple speeding into their fray, isn't really respondent as of yet. And they're just going to have to give this one up. And more of the map. I mean, nothing has happened apart from CS at the moment, but it's become nearly a 2,000 gold lead now.
So is that all we're going to see from Avant? Because Blinky and Jake just pushing bottom lane over and over again. Series doing the same thing. Top, triple, and Frey kind of seem like nothing's happening there. For now, though, Pac-Man is going to fight. Forced to flash away there as Series jumps on top of him. Are we just going to keep seeing Avant Garde bleed them out? Or are they going to try and go for a fight here? Because Kuda's been jumped on. Stand United's going to come out. Flashes away. Still will get taken out. And Pac-Man is forced to get down to the bottom lane by completing that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a bad play. He wanted to hold up the creep wave, altered himself so he had enough health to be able to do so. But at the same time, a freeze isn't going to guarantee them all that much. And they just continue to give away pressure.
And that forces Seb to come down into the bottom lane to try and help out Raid. But Avant, again, attack another point on the map, and now Pac-Man trying to go towards the top lane, misses his taunt. That turret is incredibly low. Series stuns him up. Now looking for the fight, but Shelby not close enough to get the jump on towards the Shen. They still get the first turret of the game.
Yeah, they certainly do, and all of a sudden this is a 3,400 gold lead, and the problem is that AV just hasn't been able to make a play. They're not in the mid lane trying to pressure triple. I mean, Seb's been top twice and not really got anything happening. Bottom lane, that was just a really silly freeze coming out of Kuden, and you hate to see it. So, just honestly, they have no control at the moment, Fish.
Abyss desperately looking to try and find some way to get back into the game. Some way to control Avant, keep them down, but Avant just bleeding them out slowly, it seems. Haven't been able to use Pac-Man globally. One time he's only had any impact was trying to get into the bottom lane to save Kuden. Even that wasn't enough to keep him alive.
And I mean, you're not going to see it anyway, because Aurelia top lane is just always going to have the pushing advantage. You can see the aggressive build going to continue. Expect Series to go towards something like a Blade of the Ruined King. And that just means that, you know, he's always going to be up in Pac-Man's face, always going to have the shove. And then whenever Pac-Man leaves that lane, they're going to be able to pick up something on the other side of the map. They're going to be able to pick up a turret for themselves. And it leaves very little room for error for Abyss right now. As now Pac-Man's actually being stalked out.
He's going to try and recall here. Chelby was waiting. Tremorsense not going to find the Shen heading back to base. Series going to continue pushing. Has his Merc threads picked up with that Trinity Force, like you mentioned, holding onto the long sword probably for the blade. See this with Varus. Time and time again in this bottom lane. So much damage.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I mean, he's just unrelenting in how he's being able to pressure in here. Blinky, all of a sudden, what was an even bottom lane after that phase is now a 20 CS advantage for the AV unit, and they're just continuing to push in, continuing to nail Kuden.
Almost reminiscent of Season 3 when we used to see Bloodthirst, the last Whisper rush on Varus. Absolutely devastating. Wasn't the meta then, as now Seb being jumped on. Chelby and Series try to collapse on towards the Kha'Zix. He's forced to jump away.
I mean, they've lost absolute control of everywhere. They have no pushing priority right now. Even the mid lane farm has been nullified. And they haven't been willing to make a play. That's, I guess, the alarming thing right now. If you are an Abyss fan, they just seem willing to, you know, stall this one out. But I don't even think they have a better late game. Potentially will challenge here, but they've just let so much of the jungle of Seb, you know, fall away. On the other side of the map, you know, as you can see, Series just not worried. He's at a tier 2.
Hello. Hello. Ooh, quite a bit of damage there.
Yeah, that's some good damage. So we'll see whether they make an aggressive play onto Blinky.
I mean, the question really is, where do Abyss go from here? Because Avant, they seem happy with bleeding them out. Only mid lane's even. Bottom lane is slowly chipping away.
I mean, it's accelerating. It's slow now, but like what was an even lane now into a slightly winning lane, 20 CS. Soon that's going to be up into a 40 CS margin. You saw that Ultimate was burnt for absolutely nothing on the other side. They're going to grab another Dragon for themselves. That's just going to stack up further into a late game advantage. And the lack of play out of Abyss, I mean, as I said, this is where you look for deep wards. This is where you go for a Seb, Frey, Pac-Man game. You try and shove down mid, which is the shortest lane, so you should technically be able to get advantage there. Instead, they're just continuing to laning phase, and they're continuing to fall behind. They're 3,500 gold back.
We have Kuden actually heading back to base. No more refillable potions for him to keep topped up from these piercing arrows. Forces Seb to head down here. We'll sweep out a ward, so we know he's here. But Blinky and Jake very happy with just farming this one out, taking it slow. Series doing the exact same thing in the top lane. I mean, Pac-Man is trying to fight for his life here. Doesn't quite work against an Aurelia this big.
I mean, he's actually done a good job of just nullifying the lane at this stage. All he's doing is farming up. I mean, Series continues to shove into him, but Pac-Man's getting as much CS as he can. C only misses one in that whole lot. But it's just, you know, he's not the playmaker on the team. If you pick Shen, you don't do it to make plays in your lane. You do it to be able to get out and make a play somewhere else, but just no players available as of yet.
So both teams content with farming up, and it's 20 minutes into this one. Gives us some time to check in with the items they've purchased. Bottom lane, Youmu's for both carries. We have Soweto Doki picked up by Blinky with his tier. In fact, they might actually look for a fight in the bottom lane. They've locked down Kuden. Gonna take a lot of damage here. Blinky gets a 2-on-2 kill down here. Avant fake out Kuden.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, no stand United comes out of Pac-Man because he's trying to defend blue buff on the top side of the rift. So AV doing the right thing, attacking the teleport and allowing their duo lane to go to work. I mean, you can tell how confident they are.
Raid's getting jumped on as well. Now it's going to be Jake that gets a turret aggro as well. He goes on a killing spree, and Avant have now broken the game open.
Yeah, exactly right. That's going to be another turret falling in the bottom lane. That's 2 kills going across 3-0-0 now for that Varus. And we've already seen his potency today. And you just think that without even making a play, really, Avant have just lost all semblance of momentum in this game.
Seems like it Abyss really on the back foot for now. Series still in this top lane against Pac-Man. Pac-Man You know, he's a bit beefy now. Doesn't take all that much damage anymore. That might change when Series gets a chance to go back to base. But slowly being bled out here.
Yeah, I mean, Series is sitting on like 2,300 gold, so he hasn't exactly reached his full potential yet, Fish. He'll go back, be able to pick up pretty much the components of a Bork. Everywhere else, it's just, as I said, it feels like one of those games that Slow and Steady is just losing the race, not winning the race. Slow and Steady is definitely losing this race.
They've got to try something. They haven't used the Shen. They haven't
Well, they
used
actually
Cousins.
don't, technically. That's the beauty of this game. They just do nothing the whole time. I mean, Frey misses a Shockwave mid lane. Doesn't even get a Summoner spell out. Double Air Drake. Whew.
So we're here for the long haul?
The luxury. Oh, it might not be that long. I mean, right now, Avant look like they're just only going to speed up the pace of the game.
Well, 5,000 gold lead to Air Dragons. Going to move fast. Now looking towards the mid lane. Frey potentially the target. Shelby's waiting in the wings. There's a Dark Sphere down. Triple gets the stun, actually. Will get the slow too. And the Thunderlord's proc. Shelby's here. Stand United comes here, but the ultimate will come out from both Jake as well as Triple. They found the pincer in the mid lane, and they're going to take a turret for it.
This is actually just really good League of Legends out of AV. I mean, sure, Abyss not really pushing them all that much, but they're just pressuring the weak side of the map. I mean, they're making sure that as soon as Pac-Man ults have blown a member up beforehand, Abyss will hit back with a bottom lane turret, but 2 will fall in the mid lane. And this is getting real ugly real quickly.
Certainly is. As Avant now look towards the top lane. Pac-Man going to take a beating up here as Blinky doing his best to rain the arrows down on towards their Shen. He's going to get stunned up by the Syndra. Triple gets a kill on the top lane for his first kill of the game.
And just everywhere right now, the screws are slowly tightening. And AV had a really nice set last week, and it looks like they just want to continue that clean play.
Oh no, Kuden gets taken out. Blinky gets that first kill. Seb tries to jump in for a return. He gets it onto Jake. Wave will be cleaned up by Raid, looking to try and lock down one more member, but he just can't. They do trade 1 for 1.
And I feel like now that they're defending, they're actually fighting, and you can see that it's not all that bad, but the just timing of it, it's just too little too late. I mean, you've already fallen 7,000 gold behind. And as you can see, Series completely unlocked. Now he takes himself bottom lane, has teleport available. Baron is definitely an open objective. And the gold leads everywhere, 1,000 plus.
I mean, we saw a 28-minute victory by Sin in their first match against Legacy. This game feels like it's gone on forever, but we're only 23 minutes in, and Avant have already shown their dominance in this match, just not as much chaos as what we saw in the Sin Legacy game.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. I mean, this has been clean so far. Pretty much, AV said, we've got 3 pushing lanes, and if you want to challenge us with the Shen, then you're going to lose something elsewhere. And Abyss's response to that was, we don't really want to challenge with the Shen outside of when he has teleport available to be able to leave the lane, which meant they just slowly bled out. They slowly got pushed in further and further. And now, you know, Raid, he's behind half an item. Pretty much a full item if you count the tier. I mean, mid lane behind, pretty much components of a death cap. Top lane definitely behind 2,000 gold. So it's just got so ugly so quickly. And Baron is a very real objective now.
Currently have Series split pushing in the bottom lane. His Bork is complete. So Shen's going to have a rough time dealing with him. Not going to be able to run away as easy. Going to deal a lot of percentage-based damage. Series actually already on top of him in the bottom lane, but there's a scuffle on the top side map, so can't check him with that one just yet.
Yeah, Pac-Man's in some real trouble down there.
There we go. Jumping straight on top of him. Gonna have to flash over the wall. Series follows. He's looking for it. There goes the Shadow Dash over the wall. Get back to safety. But Series is not done. He's still chasing on. Can he dash to a minion? Yes, he can. Gets the kill. Has the reset. But Pac-Man will scuttle away. Doesn't want to fall prey to Series hit list.
Yeah, so one more time, Pac-Man just able to avoid that. Really nicely done. Gives him the old do-si-do. Over the wall, back over with you as well. Will mean Infernal Drake is picked up. Doesn't look like really much of a contest is going to come out of the Abyss Esports lineup. And the fact that Aurelia is bullying the Shen that hard in the mid game, and, you know, they can't really challenge for objectives. Just, you know, this game is slowly really slipping out of control.
It certainly is. So Infernal Dragon will be picked up by Avant, increasing their lead here. 3 dragons to none. 4 turrets being picked up by AV already. Now moving in towards the bottom lane. Series will clean up this wave with Blinky. Wait for the minions to arrive. They already have Raid and Seb on the top side of the map for Abyss. They have to recall to base to defend this one, but it might be too little too late. Avant might collapse now.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Avant is down here. They're looking to clean out the wave. They have that Archer build well and truly picked up. However, it looks like they're just going to back away, play this one nice and safe. I like that. I actually think Barons is a very real objective for them. I mean, they're going to try and pick up a sneaky red buff on the way out. That's an unneeded risk at this stage of the game.
And they go for it, but Seb's going to pick it up. Now he's going in. Oh, the plant gets him back to safety, but they're still chasing down towards them. But good play from Avant to get them back out.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, it was a little unnecessary. Seb could have potentially even flashed after his jump to got over the right side of the wall with the Shen as well. Didn't go for the high-risk play. I feel like they need to go for a high-risk play if they're going to get themselves back into this game. You can see now looking to sweep out. And their team comp's really good here, Abyss. I mean, they have pretty much a 2.5 item Orianna. They have a Shen who's reasonably tanky and a Kha'Zix that'll do some damage. If they can get onto the carries, they can put in work. It's just, you know, they've made it that much harder by giving them 26 minutes to farm up before they even go for that play.
Selling up. Abyss really just trying to hang on here, but it's a 7,000 gold lead for Avant.
Yeah, hanging on is a good way to describe it. They are scaling up, however. I mean, 300 CS for both mid laners, farming ahead of the clock right now. They're both massive. 80 carries, getting up there as well. The farm values are actually really good out of everyone at this game.
Certainly is. So still major discrepancies in the top lane, where Pac-Man is now 70 CS behind Series, who has picked up a chain vest, trying to get tanky now. Jungle Seb does have 1 kill and 20 CS, but that's a very big Rek'Sai he's up against. Deadman's play completed, looking for the components of his first magic resistance item. Spectre's Cowl's been picked up for that one. And Triple's looking towards his Rabadons. Actually completes it just then. 3 major items for the Syndra, including Lounge's Torment for the burn and the magic pen.
Yeah, he's absolutely massive at this stage. I mean, it gives you 80 AP as well, so it's just not a bad AP item in all. This is one of those games where Pac-Man is starting to get the wave pushing back. So this is where you can look for windows now that you're a Shen, where you back into Fog of War, and you actually go for a play onto a triple, you know, onto someone like that. Because realistically, Series is going to push you out of lane anyway when he gets you there. But if you make a play right now when the wave is pushing back, he has to push 2 waves into the turret before it can really start doing damage. And if you time it right, that means that you should be able to pick up a free kill with the Shen ulti, and then still be able to get back to bottom lane in time to stop the Aurelia split pushing, or at least in time to stop the inhib. And I feel that unless they start making those kinds of risky 50-50 plays, maybe even a little bit less than 50-50 at this stage of the game, then they just don't have a window back in. So we'll see whether they look for it at all, or whether they just intend to, you know, allow Baron to go down.
What a split at the moment. Avant looking to try and take down Baron while Series tries to deal with Pac-Man. Let's see how this fight goes through. There goes the jump in. Seb's looking for the fight. There comes the ultimate as well from Shen. Straight on top of Seb. Looking to go in. Pac-Man's been locked down though. Blinky gonna get shut down. Abyss find the fight they're looking for. Chelby's the next target. Seb gets that kill. Meanwhile, they've lost turrets in the bottom lane, but Abyss goes straight towards the Baron.
Yeah, exactly right. This is where you have to pull the trigger on Baron, although
oh
Seb...
no, Baron not going to be able to get that final auto attack. Abyss Seb needs to be very careful though.
I mean, can they actually get out there? They're in the base already.
Ooh, Triple's flash forward for this one. Not going to force any summoner spells out of them. And look at Series. He's already on the base. I mean, screw his hit list. He's ready to take down all the structures himself.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's why it's a risky call, right? They don't get Triple, who is the most fed member, who just picks up a kill against Pac-Man. And it allows Series to just push in that bottom lane and be able to go to work. A risky call out of Abyss. I think it was actually needed. If they didn't make it then, they were just going to lose Baron and slowly lose the game. As we take another look at it, I mean, Pac-Man actually backs away from the turret. That's why I said it's important to do it when it's a neutral wave. They do go in. I mean, the shockwave could have been a little bit better, but a good flash taunt onto Blinky secures his death. I mean, they're able to turn that around onto Chelby afterwards. And if any of the pressure had been onto Triple, you feel like that would have been a one play. But unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. And it means the pressure actually continues to grow off the back end of it.
Triple almost kills Seb over the wall there. Threw all the shields from his team. Tried to flash in for it too, but couldn't get that last auto attack down. Blinky, unfortunately, taken down in that fight. Still 4-1-1. Avant start up these Barons. They can't get the poke down that they like to with their team comp. But now they have Series grouped up with them. He's got a Guardian Angel.
Yeah, he's a monster. I mean, at this stage of the game, I don't even think they really need to land poke because Blinky does a lot of raw damage, and then you have Triple that's going to one-shot anyone that comes near him apart from maybe Pac-Man, although maybe even him. And, you know, Series looking for resets on the back end of the rest of the team fight. So I don't think that's a massive concern right now. I think that they can look to maybe brute force this objective.
They do have it swept here, but the invulnerable vision coming out from the Scuttle Crab is enough to deter Avant for now. That's one scrying orb being used. They still have one more from Raid.
Raid actually wants to pick up a red buff for himself. Generally, teams will be timing that. Ooh, as Seb nearly gets caught out. Actually fails to pop.
Seb will get back towards safety here. That's a big ultimate being used by Blinky. Pac-Man still split pushing in the bottom lane. Does have teleport. Standing on his back up as well, but Avant rushing this Baron. They know it's happening because they ran over the Scuttle Crab vision. They're trying to burst it down though, Spawn.
Yeah, they certainly are, and at the same time, that pass is not going to come through. The rest of the team is approaching from the other angle. 2,000 health, it's going to go down.
I see he's going to get that. Frey tries to go for the snipe, doesn't get it, but takes down Jake. Meanwhile, Series was keeping Seb occupied. Shelby goes over the wall, but a double kill falls for Frey. Again, when Abyss are falling, Frey still shines.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, he's a 4-item Orianna with 350 farm at 31 minutes into the game. He is going to be able to do some damage if he gets the right members. But no one else was willing to go in. I mean, that was Frey and Raid pretty much doing 100% of the damage to be able to stop that.
Still, Avant pick up the Baron. Series was doing enough work to keep Pac-Man as well as Seb occupied. So it's basically Frey walking into a 4-on-5. Sorry, 4-on-1.
He literally walked in. He just strolled up. No one turned around and hit him. So he's like, all right, cool, I'll go for the steal. Didn't get that, but did get a couple of kills for himself. And we'll see, now that the map is shrinking, sure, Baron buff's been picked up, but it is 9-ish thousand gold to lead. I mean, we've seen stranger things. See how AV can clean this one up.
Stranger Things was definitely a good series, Spawn. I like that.
Did you?
Now let's see if I continue pushing through.
I thought that it was okay. I thought that
really?
It was, yeah, like I would watch it. Like, I don't regret watching it. It certainly wasn't a waste of time. But as far as like all the hype goes, yeah.
Wow, I thought it was an amazing series. Scared the crap out of me, but I still thought it was great. Then again, everything scares the crap out of me. Now though, Vanna looking to try and push for the mid lane inhibitor turret. That's already taken quite a bit of damage. Blinky as well as Triple, poking very well against Seb. This turret's incredibly low as it is, so one more wave should be enough to take that down. Series still split pushing the top side of the map. Pac-Man doing what he can to defend. His taunt does absolutely nothing though.
I mean, it turns around and makes people hit you. But apart from that, I agree. Relatively ineffective in forcing Series off the turret.
There's the shockwave coming out from Frey, looking to try and lock down Shelby. Does absolutely nothing to the tanky Rek'Sai in the front lines. Yes, Spawn, it does knock him back and deal some damage. It's called exaggeration.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Don't get defensive on me.
Meanwhile, Pac-Man is going toe-to-toe against Series on the top side of the map, just making sure that that top lane doesn't fall down. Series actually gone back to base, picked up a Random Wind's Omen for himself.
Yeah, potentially looking for that teleport play to siege down the next turret. We'll go for it. They're going to knock down all three outers. And I feel like this is one of those games that if you don't go now, Abyss, you're not going to have a house to come home to.
Here they go. Seb's listening to your Spawn, jumps in with the invisibility, gets the Lulu ultimate on top of that. Good damage actually coming out from Abyss as Pac-Man's in the back lines. Going to be locked down though by Jake. Will get taken down. Series able to disrupt them in the meantime. Pac-Man, the first to fall from Abyss, they tried their hardest for, but they've lost their tankiest member. And now Series is going in, looking for Frey, can't get the final dash. That's going to be the first Nexus turret to fall. Ray getting jumped on by Shelby will be able to lock down that Rek'Sai. Avant Garde, though, needed to get the heck out of there because they're all really low.
Exactly right, and that was without the shockwave available. I mean, Frey had used that mid lane on just the Rek'Sai, and they're still able to force him out of the base. The pick ban phase out of Abyss is good one more time, but they just haven't been able to execute on it. Maybe a fear of making mistakes in the early game, but they just keep falling too far behind before they go for that play.
But lucky for Abyss is the fact that their bottom lane inhibitor did respawn, so no double super minions going to be coming into all three lanes. I still have quite a bit to clear out before they can get out of their own base though. 11,000 gold behind Avant Garde.
Exactly right. At the same time, they're going to be able to clear it out. All of their champs have relatively good wave clear. I mean, Frey's just going to sit back here and, you know, pick up even more farm on the Orianna. But I want to see them, with all ultimates available, make that play sooner. Get Seb onto the back line, get him submarined in with a Shen because it stops the Malzahar ulti. And then, you know, look for a big knock-up, look for the big shockwave to come out and try and, you know, they're not going to, like, 90% chance that they don't win this game, but they can still take something away from it by playing more positive League of Legends, because right now they're playing very negatively.
Avant now looking to try and attack the bottom lane as Raid going to get some immediate
Jack.
QSS coming out from Raid to get himself out of that.
That always feels good. You know, sometimes you just do it cause.
Now his QSS is going to be down if they decide to go for a fight here.
All right, eyes on the Kazakhs. What we're looking for is Seb, the captain, to get the stealth on nice and early and just make a beeline for that back lane.
Well, they've got to defend this inhibitor as the last one standing, but Avant being very patient, waiting for Super Minions to walk down the mid lane. Pac-Man is tanking up the top step. There goes Seb, looking for the submarine, immediately flashing out from triple. Series jumps back in straight away. Seb still very tanky, but already initiation has been done. Series going to take a lot of damage, but Pac-Man is going to fall first, or is he? As he flashes out of there. Guardian Angel has been popped on the Aurelia. Abyss putting up a good fight though, forcing Avant to think twice before they take this inhibitor.
And they can look for it one more time. I mean, they can rinse and repeat the play. There are creeps on the Nexus. Someone needs to try and help out Frey.
Frey going to take a lot of damage. They've already lost their last Nexus turret. That's an open Nexus. Pac-Man's teleporting. They go for a flank here, Spawn. They're throwing the Hail Mary into the back lines. But it seems like they're going to have to cancel that one as well because the Nexus is taking a beating from the Super Minions. Abyss just have too much to defend against.
Yeah, exactly right. And this is why you need to make the play a little bit sooner. Seb gets stunned up. Actually nearly falls down, and there's not really all that much Abyss can do right now.
There certainly is not. Avant hit the Nexus and take the game against Abyss. Abyss looked promising when they actually went for the fights, but too little too late.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You need to play positive League of Legends at some point if you hope to win the game, and they just were continuing to turtle in, absorb pressure, but at the end of the day, when all you're defending is one Nexus turret, I mean, there's not all that many plays in the playbook to get you out of that rut.
The Hail Mary coming out from Pac-Man and Seb, you know, lots of shields on towards that Kha'Zix, forcing flashes everywhere as well.
That's a good comp. I mean, when you look at it on paper, that comp is a good team fighting comp. It doesn't beat the Aurelia, but it stalls it out for long enough if you can keep a neutral lane. As I said, if you're able to ever push out a little bit, you can make the teleport play across map and then get back in time to defend. But they just weren't willing to commit to it early enough into the game. They should have been attacking triple and made sure that he was under control.
And it seems like Avant got able to pivot from that top lane and bottom lane pressure they had, slowly chip away at Abyss. It was a stalemate in the mid lane though. Frey, once again, even though Abyss falls, holding his own very well.
Yeah, one more time. I mean, Frey's a good player, Seb's a good individual player. It's really the team factor and the shot calling that needs to change when you have a look at Abyss, because losing a game slowly for 32 minutes, it isn't going to cut it.
Well, Abyss still have a series on their hand. They've been able to do it once before against Sin. We'll have to check in later if they can do it against Avant. For now, though, let's check back with the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Fish. Well, there we have it. AV taking out Abyss in that first game, and we've seen some upsets today, but that was not one. Just a 30-minute game, 32-minute game, and just early lead to AV, and in Aero, they held their lead throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it was kind of what was expected. Like, Avant just played like the better team. They didn't have to do anything too special. Abyss didn't have to, Abyss didn't really do anything. Avant just kind of won the game slowly. Like, it was just kind of to be expected. Better team just won.
Mendrix, is that how you see it? Just the better team just won?
Yeah, it was just really textbook coming across from AV in those situations. And it was one of those cases where it was a neutral lane in the mid lane, top was winning, bot was winning, and so it just makes sense that eventually as time goes on, they will overtake the map and take the win. And I want to quickly touch on why the top lane wasn't neutral. There was actually quite a bad decision made by Abyss to actually take that 2v2 fight early. I mean, it was a massive minion wave. They saw that Rek'Sai was there, and still they went in to take the fight and ended up losing a lot because of it. I mean, 20 CS lead on Aurelia early with a kill, not something you want to deal with.
All right, well, let's take a look at the draft as we bring it up on your screen. And Mendrix, what sticks out to you on this draft?
Like specifically the ban on to Jace. I mean, you're on blue side, you do have the availability to first pick it. It's something that you can actually keep in that sort of situation. So I do like how they decided to, I don't like how they decided to ban. I would have liked them to actually pick that up. I guess the reason why is maybe they're not comfortable to actually play that champion.
Nero, you kind of predicted this. You said Pac-Man's not great on the carries, or he's not known for his carries, so Jace, they're probably going to ban it. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's just it's what it shows. Like, if you have a weakness like that, it can easily be exploited, and having to waste a ban on Jace, who's a huge power pick, and then picking up Kha'Zix, like, it's not a huge trade-off if you can actually play around that Kha'Zix well, but you still shouldn't have to ban that on blue side. It's a huge opening.
Let's talk about Frey on Orianna, because you were saying backstage that, I mean, he is obviously one of the good players in this team, but he's not necessarily being put on the champs that he needs to be now.
Right. So on Orianna, he's getting a lead. He does this every game. Frey always gets a lead. But like Orianna, you're just going to farm. Like you're just going to farm, and then you're going to have a big impact in team fights. Like Abyss doesn't need that. They played this entire game really reactive, and I really want to see Frey on like a proactive mid lane or something he can push mid out and like run to another lane. So if he's playing like Syndra or Corki gets packaged, runs bot lane, does something. But right now he's just getting a CS lead and saying, hey team, please make a fight happen, which isn't the best way to like carry when that's your big carry.
And it's kind of hard for him to get onto those and do that when they're proactively banning out those champions that you're talking about. When they're not on the Rift, it's kind of hard for you to actually get those champions and actually make an impact in the game that you want to go for. Now, the big thing I do want to talk about there is he didn't manage to get close enough to get to his Void Staff. He would have been really turning heads in that game if he managed to get that Void Staff, get that magic penetration in, and really hit like a freight rate train towards that late game.
Just make a pun on a Frey train? Is that the joke you just made?
You tried to.
I tried to, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if it had the impact that I wanted it to.
I hate it. All right, let's pull up this Baron replay. It's a bit of a Baron attempt. The first one. And Mendrix, what's gone wrong here?
So Avi at this point in time again, they're feeling good. They want to go for this Baron here, and Abyss reacts properly here. And that Shockwave, again, it could have been better. I think that was something that Spawn mentioned. But the problem was that they had really good chase following up here, and it's a bit too late for you to actually go for these sort of Baron plays. You should have been proactive earlier, and AV were just too far ahead, and Abyss, even though they were managing to pick up the kills, were losing it. But the big thing that really happened there was Ceres. He was in the bot lane the entire time, and he got the inhibitor.
Yeah, and were they kind of lucky that Abyss didn't take Baron after that, or were they kind of too low and it was never a threat?
I don't think Abyss were going to go for Baron after that anyways. I think they're just going to take the inhib, Avant wasn't going to take the Baron. They're just going to take the inhib, be happy with it, and then like just play it safe. Like Avant played the whole game safe. They just didn't want to make a mistake, which I think is smart. Like if the other team's playing reactive, just don't give them a way to like react and win. It's just the easiest way to win.
All right, well, that is game one of Abyss taking on AV. AV are up one game. Let's see if Abyss can get back into it. We'll be back right after this.
There comes the ultimate as well from Shannon, straight on top of Seb. Looking to go in. Pac-Man's been locked down though. Blinky gonna get shut down. Abyss find the fight they're looking for. Chelby's the next target. Seb gets that kill. There you go. Seb's listening to your spot. Jumps in with the invisibility. Gets the Lulu ultimate on top of that. Good damage actually coming out from Abyss as Pac-Man's in the back lines. Gonna be locked down though by Jake. Will get taken down. Series able to disrupt them in the meantime. Looking for the submarine. Immediately flashing out from Triple. Series jumps back in straight away. Seb's still very tanky, but already initiation has been done. Series going to take a lot of damage, but Pac-Man is going to fall first, or is he? As he flashes out of there. Guardian Angel has been popped on the Aurelia. Abyss putting up a good fight though. Avant hit the Nexus and take the game against Abyss. Abyss looked promising when they actually went for the fights, but
it's huge under pressure when this could be either your biggest, greatest moment, or, you know, it could be just another thing. And I'm trying to strive for the biggest, greatest moment.
¿Quieres uno como gamer que tenga la mejor experiencia del mundo? Que sientes emoción cuando ve las finales.
¿Él?
People like forget about who they are. They become their character in game.
并不是说你努力就一定有收获，就算你被打败了，你还得继续去战斗。
It was a really, really dark place for me. I was terrified of everything.
Eu só não esperava que com League of Legends eu me aproximasse tanto de uma pessoa. Eu só não esperava que fosse acabar desse jeito.
League of Legends community, me, everyone, all these gamers, we have your back. That's who we are, you know?